Hello, this is Randy Birch with the Northwest Texas Small Business Development Center. We service a region of 95 counties. We have centers located in Wichita Falls, Lubbock, Abilene, Amarillo, Stephenville, and Midland, Odessa. You've probably seen the news that Congress has passed another large COVID relief bill. And I wanted to jump on here and tell you just from what we understand now, it's still waiting on the president's signature at this moment, or what we understand how this will affect small businesses. First of all, let me tell you that most of the rollout of this, SBA and the Treasury Department has from 10 to even as long as 24 days to roll some of this out. So you're most likely looking at first of the year before you can begin to apply for some of these programs. First of all, it does open up the PPP again for the second draw. It's called second draw PPP loans. This time, the PPP is really going to focus on those small businesses, those that are really hard hit by the economy. So the maximum loan, or the PPP second draw this time, will be $2 million. In order to receive that loan, you have to be an employer that has less than 300 employees. Now, if you're a business with multiple locations, you may not have more than 300 employees at each physical location. It excludes publicly traded companies from being eligible. And another thing is you had to have used all of your PPP that you received the first round. Secondly, in order to qualify, you have to show a 25% reduction in gross receipts from either the first, second, or third quarter of 2020, or maybe even or fourth quarter if you're applying in January. And that has to be a 25% reduction based on the same period from 2019. There's a new special calculation for seasonal employers. And the loan terms are basically the businesses can receive up to 2.5 times your monthly average payroll cost. So if your average payroll cost is $10,000 a month, then you would be 2.5 times 10,000. But no loan can be greater than 2 million. If you're in the food industry, accommodation and food industry, NAICS code 72, you may receive 3.5 times your average monthly payroll cost. In order for this PPP to be forgiven, you have to use at least 60% on payroll, and then 40% can be used on other items. And they did expand in this PPP some of the items that you can use these things on. These money has to be used within 8 to 24 weeks after you receive the funds. So other things that are in this bill is over 5,500 pages in length. This bill has a ton of stuff in it. And so we're just hitting the highlights from the things that related to businesses and the things that you need to know about. They came up with a new forgiveness application for PPP loans under 150,000. SBA has 24 days from the date that this bill is signed to roll that out. So again, we're going to be sometime in January before you see that new application. But this is a simple one-page application that the borrower will fill out, certify, and return to the lender. There are new maximum loan amounts for farmers and ranchers under the PPP loan program. News media and other news and media organizations are now open for the PPP loan program as long as they have less than 500 employees. There's also now some grants for shuttered venue operators, movie theaters, museums, public theaters, things of that nature that can demonstrate at least 25% reduction in revenue. And this is done in phases. The initial 14 days after this is implemented, you have to face a 90% greater loss. And then the next 14 days is for those in this industry that have faced a 70% greater loss. And then after that initial 28-day period, it is open to anyone else that has faced at least a 25% reduction in revenue related to grants for the venue operators. This bill also extends the debt relief program. And so that means the principal and interest on small business loans that are guaranteed by the 7A, the 504, or the micro loan program from SBA Borrowers will receive 3 additional months of principal and interest starting in February of 2021. So 3 months of payments of principal and interest on your SBA loans starting in February of 21, but that will be capped at $9,000 per month. In addition, some of the borrowers that are in the underserved area, they may receive an additional 5 months of principal and interest, also capped at $9,000. On new SBA loans, the borrow fees and loan fees are waived, and they increase the 90% guarantee on some of the 7A loans and the Community Advantage loans up until October 1st of 2021. If you're in the 8A program doing government contracting, you can ask for a 1-year enrollment extension for the next year. This bill also opens up the idle advances again, provides up to $10,000 to eligible applicants in low-income communities that did not receive grants the first time because the funds had run out. Extends the time that SBA has to disperse these idle grants from 3 to 21 days, which is a little more reasonable. The 3 days was just no way that SBA could get that done that quickly. So again, the idle advance is open up to some of those that may have not received it the first time. You may be eligible now to receive that. And this was a really big one that everybody seemed to be pushing for. If you received an idle advance and a PPP, the previous CARES Act said that you had to reduce that amount of the idle advance from the PPP loan. This repeals that, so that your idle advance will not have to be deducted from your PPP forgiveness. This also provides 166 billion in one-time payments for individuals. And so this is the $600 for individuals making up to $75,000 and $1,200 for couples making up to $150,000. If you make over $75,000 as an individual or $150,000 as a couple, then that $600 will begin to be phased out, as well as there's an additional $600 per eligible child dependent. Also in this bill, there's $18 billion for transportation. This is related for airlines, air contractors, airport, Amtrak, private motor coaches, school buses, and ferries have all been impacted by the stay-at-home order. So there is additional $45 billion in transportation that's in there for that. In addition, there is renters assistance, low income assistance, expands the time for medical flex spending accounts. There's money in there to expand broadband, to aid for farmers, money for United States Post Office, for fisheries. There's funds for COVID vaccine, for tracing. There's funds for education, for elementary school to high school and higher ed, and there's money for childcare. So as you can see, this is a massive bill that has almost everything in there. It's going to take a little time to roll this out. This also, with this, they tied in the funding of the United States budget through the 2021. So there is a budget now in place along with this. And so over the next 10 to 14 days, if this rolls out, we'll try to keep you updated and posted of things happening on our Facebook and our website pages. Most of our centers are part of the universities, or all of our centers are part of universities, and so we follow the schedule of closures that they have. And so the SBDCs will be closed either starting today or tomorrow and return to work on January the 4th. But as things come out, we will keep you posted on our Facebook, on our social media, and our website pages. So just look for that. But again, 10 to 14 days is the earliest we're probably going to see most of this. So we're looking at the first of the year before this begins to roll out. Thank you for listening, and thank you for what you do and what you're helping to keep the economy running. I know it's been a tough year, but this seems to be some help that should alleviate some of the strains that we're having in the economy. Thanks.